For those of you who have been watching all my videos, I appreciate it. Or watching most of them anyway, and reading my Substacks, I appreciate it. You're most likely to understand me correctly. Those who are just coming to this as their first video, I hope that they withhold judgment for a while, until they've watched at least an hour's worth of video, to have some sense of who I am, at least the slightest possible sense, because you will need to give what I say the benefit of the doubt all the time, all the time, all the time. Because it is literally impossible for any person to understand everything that I'm saying, because I'm speaking to so many different communities at the same time, many of whom have exact opposite words for the same thing. In communities that are lazy and don't get up and go at all. Well, to them I would say, hey, there's a life out there, let's get up and do stuff. To communities that are like, oh, I would say, hey, chill out, enjoy your existence. So therefore, anything that I'm saying is definitely not addressed to some people. So nobody will or should understand everything that I'm saying. Therefore, all that I ask is the benefit of the doubt. Now, for those of you who joined recently, especially, first of all, for the many Christian people who joined recently, who have left very many beautiful comments, a few negatives, but very, very few. Very, 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 very few. And even then, not that negative, sometimes just like different belief systems or whatever. Most people left very beautiful comments and contacted me privately as well. I love you guys. I really welcome you very, very much. We have a bit of a problem. The bit of a problem is that I don't think that I can abandon the Jews as much as I and every person who has ever been put in the position one way or the other of being any kind of Jewish leader has wanted to abandon them, because although of course, they are flesh of my flesh and bone from my bone, and we can understand each other at levels, of course, that I can't really speak to people who don't have that educational background, those genetic background, that historical familial background. They're also the most critical people in the world. This is not a secret. Everybody knows this. They're also can be very annoying. Famously, a prime minister of Israel said, in America, you only have to be the president of 300 million people. In Israel, you have to be the prime minister of 3 million prime ministers. This was back with only 3 million Israelis. But some Christians have asked me to be wary of turning off, or of not of turning off, because good Christians, not the shit kind, you all know the shit kind, but good ones, they're pretty open-hearted people, I find. So he said, you don't want to not accept these 2 billion people by saying somewhat insulting things occasionally. He was referring specifically, I believe, to the video called My Jewish Jesus. And I hope that I didn't say anything too insulting, but you have to understand that a large part of my audience is fellow Jewish rabbis. And even though I make clear that I'm not claiming to speak on their behalf, because I very openly have not been practicing what they consider to be essential halacha, Jewish law, but even more so, much more essential, even when I was practicing it, because my philosophy was, forgive me for those who don't follow everything I'm saying right now, but the biblical concept of Besoch Ami Anochi Yoshev, I'm within my people. So if they have separate pots and pans for milk and meat, even though I know the sugya, okay, I'll stop trying to impress Jews by using Jew words. I know the subject. In fact, I'm an Orthodox rabbi of the subject. That's what you study for years. Really, milk and meat mixing. I kid you not. You have no idea what it is. Fascinating stuff. I'll tell you sometime for those who don't know. But I know it well. And I consider the separate pots and pans for milk clearly nonsense. For Jews who don't know what I'm talking about, but have some inclination. If you're not learned, it's not for you right now, what I'm going to say. Just stay out of it. If you are learned, forgive me, everybody who doesn't follow this. I just need to say this right now for them. Appears 3 times, and that's where we get the lavin of cooking, eating, and hana. And when it comes to eating, of course, they wouldn't say, listen, there's a tiny bit of milk in there and you can't eat it. They say, ask a kfela. Right? What's meant the kfela? Okay, look at the Mefarshim if you want. There's different answers for that. But you ask a kfela. And what if there's no kfela? No, batal b'shishim. Okay, but what if we don't know how much is nivla into the pot? Oh, so we have to assume that every single atom in the pot is mole bosa right now. So if you cook chalav in it, you need shishim kineged the whole pot. With pots, nonsense. Completely untrue. It doesn't apply these days. In fact, the Aruch HaShulchan would even say that. But b'seich ami anochi yoshev. So I did as they do. It didn't matter. Now I'm back to English. And I'll try as best I can to stick with English. If I do occasionally clarify some things for people who have a higher Judaic knowledge or from that community, I guess I feel it's necessary at that time. But I'm not doing it for the critics. Critics don't deserve a response. They don't deserve a response. I'm not doing it for them. I guess I'd really only be doing it, what I just did right now, so that people realize that I know a little bit what I'm talking about. If they have a question, they can. If they are interested in actually knowing what my answer is, if they're interested, if they're open to a possible answer, then I'm happy to help. So I guess I just had to show that I know a little bit of something. See, among the Jews, you have to claim. Anyway, enough about that. I'll try not to go off on that too much. So, for those who did watch the last two videos of my Jewish Jesus, and then after that, the one where I'm wearing the tefillin, that's the boxes with the straps, the tefillin, and the talis, that's the shawl. I think it's called the main Jewish prayer, the Shema, or something like that. For those who already watched those two videos, this is mainly for you, for people who understand what I'm saying, who buy into what I'm saying, who care about what I'm saying, who share what I'm saying, who want this to be successful. So, as you saw in the Shema video, in the last video where I was wearing talis and tefillin, I tried for hours to go on and to read this document, but I really don't want to do any of this. I guess it's a Yetzer Hara, I guess it's my wrong inclination, is just leave me alone, world. The world is a beautiful, unbelievable playground. Why do I want to focus on the things that are wrong with it? There's plenty wrong with it. I tried to fix it in my youth, by which I mean in my 20s. I tried to fix it, and instead it just knocked me down. The people who are working at fixing it, thank God, they're working on good things instead of, like everyone else, just running for money or sex or a good name in their community or whatever else, whatever other stupid local value they happen to be running for. Okay, they're doing good things, but they're also less impressive than I would have hoped in certain factors, primarily the love of truth. As Zechariah, the prophet, gives us the 3-word requirement for absolute redemption. 3 words. 3 words. V'ha'emes v'ha'shalom ehavu. And the truth and the peace, which peace doesn't just mean not killing each other. Peace means the goodness of all mankind, the settledness of all mankind, instead of today where literally every person has anxiety. Mankind flourishing as gods, the way that God made us, in his image, free and living fully. That's shalom. But first is emes, truth. And within the Orthodox Jewish community, and so I hope over here, by the way, anything I say that might offend some critic, because I'm sorry for taking them so seriously. Here's a joke that I say about Jews, and I know I'm going a little off subject here and there, but I gotta be me. This is just me. I've never been married, as far as I know, and but I've had various girlfriends, and been with various girls. And what I've discovered about there's complications between the genders. It goes without saying. A Jewish girl, and this is negative in general, so just take it as a joke. It's how it's intended. A Jewish girl might not stab you, but you'll wish she did. A Gentile girl actually might stab you if she's like a rotten girl. A Jewish girl, no matter how rotten she is, she'll just drive you to suicide. That's as far as she'll go. You'll wish she would have stabbed you. Jews writ large can be difficult to deal with, especially if they're holding you up as a zaken mamre. Let me say right now to the Jews, and I'll translate that, to the Jews who are Orthodox, who are concerned about anything I might say, I am, according to some opinions, a apikoiris, a mummer, and a zaken mamre. These are different words for heretic. Zaken mamre means someone who is actually a leader, an elder. He knows stuff, and yet he's not preaching what he's supposed to preach. In my opinion, the concept of heresy is evil, and it's nothing Maimonides believed in himself. People who claim they know Maimonides, Rambam, who I mentioned many times, so I'm not going to keep translating Maimonides, Rambam. He lived in the 1100s, and he is, as close as I can tell, he is a great one. He is someone that I hold very highly. For himself, he did not believe in heresy, he believed in truth. People don't know anything. I'm not going to argue with people who don't know anything or explain anything to people who don't know anything. If someone is a baki, if someone is an expert in Maimonides, and they disagree, feel free to have a friendly conversation if you want to know why I think what I think. With respect. You need to come with respect. I will not deal with bullshitters. So you see, Christians, that's why, because many Jews really don't know anything about anything. Like most people don't know anything about anything. One of my mentors, who is not alive, who I never met, who died before I lived, was named Ben Hecht. And he said, in my opinion, Jews are just like anybody else. They're just children of the earth. Every now and then, a little bit better. That's my impression of Jews too. They're not this miraculous people. They're definitely not evil people. Like, if you're concerned about Israel versus Hamas, definitely Israel. Now, I myself do not support what Israel is doing. I oppose it wholeheartedly, and I have said so a number of times. My Substack often. Substack's address, by the way, maybe I'll put it up here. It's ydydY.substack.com. ydydY.substack.com. But in my video, you can watch my video, which more people should, as there's one comment there, says more people should see this video. That's the single comment. It's only from like 2 weeks ago. It's called the Yadidya 3-point plan for Israel. You can look it up, go into videos on YouTube. It's from about 2 weeks ago, the Yadidya 3-point plan for Israel. She's right. More people should see that video. I oppose what Israel's doing. I absolutely do. For their sake, for the Gazans' sake, for the world's sake. I oppose it. Not because Hamas is in any way right, or because Israel does not have a moral right as a purely human nation, as a regular nation among nations. As a nation among nations, Israel has every justifiability to wipe out all their enemies. They have numerous times offered every chance for peace and compromise to people who do not have the strength to fight them. It's literally just their morality that keeps them from killing more people. Granted, they happen to be on a bit of a... Doesn't matter, I'm not going to get off subject right now. The point is that anti-Semitism is gross and disgusting. Christian anti-Semitism, which thank God doesn't really exist today, but it has for a long time, it's triply gross and disgusting. Who the fuck are they? Who the fuck are they? Sure, Jesus should not have been killed. His name wasn't Jesus, Yehoshua. Whatever. He should not have been killed. As far as I can tell, most of what he had to say was definitely right. And he was just saying what the prophet said. Really nothing new. Things got lost in translation over the generations, whatever. And the Jews who killed him were the wealthy elite assholes. They were not the Pharisees. The Pharisees are the spiritual ancestors of the Jews of today. All Jews today follow the Pharisaic tradition. In Hebrew, the Perushim, the separatists. It wasn't them. The Pharisees, well, you should watch that video. I discuss it there. My Jewish Jesus, from a few days ago. On Christmas Day, actually. Nonetheless, it is we, the Jews, who produce Jesus, Yehoshua. Sure, Jews are not into considering him a god. They're not into considering Buddha or Vishnu a god either. As a matter of fact, according to Maimonides, a great deal of very, very pious, supposedly pious Orthodox Jews are believing in something akin to idolatry themselves, without even realizing it. Certainly, to view any human being as the ultimate, unknowable, inexplicable, everything that is incomprehensible, that is not able to be given over. We use the sound, Yahuwah, which isn't even a sound. It's nothing. That's the whole point of it. There's no vowels in there. It's not a sound. It's everything. It's beyond anything we can talk about. So all of what they call Christology, for anyone who's a theologian, all of Christology that took place prior to the Council of Nicaea, where they settled it, about is Christ, very few of them were Jews, so is Christ equal or lesser or the same, the body, every different way of understanding. If you're a regular, Christian of these days, not familiar with all these things, you might think that it's definitive what Jesus is, but it was definitely not definitive to people in those days, and certainly Jews in those days. And there were many Jews who held highly of Yehoshua. They definitely did not feel that he was a divinity in the sense of like the Father, the Son. None of that. It's largely based on mistranslations, I'm sorry to say. But the point is that because of history, Jews have a natural native reaction of hatred to the whole Jesus thing. They don't know Yehoshua from Nazareth at all. They really don't. Jesus, people burning them for killing God, people accusing them of torturing the host, people accusing them of killing Christian children, especially Christian, you should know. That's what they believe. Even in Damascus, the claim was that they killed Christians. Jews have to kill Christian children, put their blood in the matzah. It's like, what do these insane people... Of course, the hatred of every sound, of everything that looks or smells of anything to do with this guy disgusts them. So that's why, every once in a while, I do have to point out to Jews that even if I'm saying something nice about Christians or Christianity or Yehoshua, No, I don't believe that the all-encompassing everything could become flesh. What does that even fucking mean? It's like asking, it's as stupid as asking, forgive me for using the word stupid. It's as irrational as asking, can God create a rock he can't lift? AKA, can God be not God? To say that God can be a man, to say that God is not God. And it doesn't matter. I'm not going to get into that theological, how many angels dance on the head of a pin nonsense. And besides, I don't care. I really don't. Everything that we say about God, whatever we call God, whatever we associate with God, is not God. It's our perception from our very limited abilities. It's not the thing. It's not the all, the it. It ain't. So what exactly someone means these days doesn't really matter to me. If there is a unified conception of what Yehovah means, as in contrast to what Baal means, then okay, I guess you got to choose this pack of goodies or the other pack of goodies. The rules of Yehovah or the rules of Baal. But in the world today where God is mostly bandied about by people who know nothing at all, who haven't given it much thought, it's meaningless. I really couldn't care less what people are talking about or what they name their whatever. It's very complex. I don't want to get into it right now. So this video right here, as you saw, I said I didn't end up reading that document at the end of the Shema video.